I want to make sure that people understand that I am not advocating one way or eating another. This is not a diet show.
No, I know.
Okay. That's my big thing. Okay.
I've stopped drinking, actually. I've lost 4 pounds. I'm just kidding. Cheers.
Cheers. Yes. Okay. So
Sorry.
I am walking proof that
Oh,
we can
look,
lose.
you're recording this still. That'll be an outtake. I changed my mind about how to do the season 2 closing. So originally I had all these plans of kind of doing a recap thing like we do like at the end of the actual calendar year, and we kind of basically laugh about the things that happened during the year and talk about what we're doing the next time and for what's coming up in season 3. But right now kind of things are always in a jumble, and that's just how life works. So I apologize for any echo that you're hearing on the audio. I'm trying my best to use the direct mic because it's a little echoey in here. This is my home kitchen, and will be soon to be saying was my home kitchen. And downstairs was my working kitchen, where I actually had a successful catering business for years. And I actually taped a lot of demos and stuff that you can find on YouTube, and then part of this podcast. I also did a lot up here, interviewed things, and I had entertained a lot up in this space. And with all of the changes that are happening in my life, and especially my business life, we're kind of moving on, and this is going to be my last time taping here. It's very sad. But I came up with a good plan, I thought, last night, but because it was kind of my plan, I figured it should be me to share it. So here's how things are going to work. If you listened or watched last week's episode, that would be 2 weeks ago, I was sharing the story about what's going on with my future business plans. So yes, my husband and I are trying to buy a building. Things are still in the works. Business hasn't changed hands. It's a work in progress. Let's just put it that way. But the end result was going to be that the wine bar is going to be not just a location for someone to come in and have a drink and everything, but my own classes are going to be held there once or twice a month. I'm going to be doing special events and tastings there. I'm going to be doing little culture talks and everything to learn about other people's lives through food and drink. That's specifically wine, but that's the whole idea of this place, is that taking my concept of travel and turning it into a all-encompassing experience where you can eat and drink and learn all at the same time. So that's still the concept, and that's still the plan. But with my weird ass timeline right now, which keeps changing on an ongoing basis, my dedicated and lovely co-hosts have been very patient with me, constantly changing timelines, meaning, where we usually would have a season 3 launch in the middle of September, I was thinking I was going to be in the middle of renovations at that time, so I put it off beginning of October. So beginning of October, of course, is now. Still haven't started renovations, hoping to this weekend. Things are just always moving and changing as more and more people are getting involved in this process, which is a whole other podcast and story that I can share some other time. But in the long run, the goal is that any of the live shows and special tastings and things will actually be taped in the wine bar. And I really wanted our season 3 launch party to be held in that space. I thought it would be a great sort of send-off, pop some champagne with people who also love food and drink and travel as much as we do, all in the same space, and kind of just one little party. But because I still don't know when that date's going to be, I don't want to put things off any longer. So here's the plan. Season 2 was kind of us 3 girls getting our footing on what topics we like to do, getting our own schedules in place, meeting and catching up and sharing the things that we love and the stories and the things we found online. It was funny and that kind of thing. And that's still the plan going forward. But we also have so many things and ideas that we've been talking about doing for so long that kind of require sometimes more time when it comes to arranging interviews, setting up maybe a reshoot if we need it, or setting up a particular road trip to go to something at some place. Or sometimes it's just as simple as trying to convince somebody not to be scared of the camera. We always get people who are very willing to maybe come and talk or be interviewed on this show, but when they hear that it's also on video, they start to panic, and then they kind of delay and put us off, and it's just camera shy. And we get it. None of us are actually very comfortable on camera either, believe it or not. It's one of those things that we giggle about it off camera quite a bit. Cynthia still says she's never watched one of our shows because she'd panic over it. It took me a long time to be able to even watch myself just to do editing. So now I kind of pretend that I'm editing somebody else. So it's like me, but not me. That's a whole other thing. You go in to buy a bottle, because I have it at the pub, but you go in and you buy a bottle and they go, hey, do you want to try our new gin? You're like, yeah, I do. It's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah, they usually have they have some small batch ones that they put on there, so it's not in the short bottle, it'll be the tall one.
Yeah.
That's the one you can get through the LCBO. Yeah. Yes, shout out to Crosscut, we'll give you a link.
I'm sorry, but
one of the things, when I dusted my last gin class, one of the things, especially gin drinkers, need to be aware is that it is not heavy in juniper, which scares some people away. This gin is actually more an anise.
See, and I just had a young server ask me last night, does all gin taste like pine needles?
Nope.
And I said, no.
Crosscut does not.
No, it doesn't. And that's why you have bar rails in restaurants, right? You have that spirit that's going to go in with a fruity drink, where it doesn't really need the subtle nuances of different flavors. Do you know what I'm trying to get at? And then you have the back bar, which is where you get into your flavors. We are not talking about fails right now.
We'll put this little section on another video for the bonus thing. We'll call it Bev and Steph go off on a gin tangent.
Yeah, like I feel, yeah.
So we will continue to do those kind of things, and now we're going to gather the segments and the interviews and the things that we want to talk about, and then produce those shows and air them as they are ready. So meaning we are going off book, off schedule. We started off with a weekly thing every single week, which was great because it worked with my schedule and sometimes worked with the girls, and then even Deke when he was with us for the time prior to that. But it was still kind of hit and miss, and we were trying to coordinate too many schedules and too many things. And this is not our full-time job. As you know, we are all multi-hyphenates in our own right. We all have many things and many projects going on, and trying to coordinate schedules, not just with us organizing things, but us and our guests and interviewees and everything else is just, and then timing it based on, well, we need a show for this coming Saturday. It was starting to sacrifice, or, time with family and friends and just general catch up. And sometimes we're racing in to tape a show and we realize we didn't even have a time to do a quick, hey, how's it going conversation face to face. And that's not what we wanted it to be. So we will still continue to do that. We're going to have mostly produced shows going forward. So they're going to be better to watch, better to listen, more informative, better interviewers, better interviewees. I mean, some things on location. I still have lots of travel planned. I said I just got back from Spain, and yes, I'm late with my crew take on Madrid, which is coming soon. And I also have another one coming up for New York City, because I don't think I've done one for Manhattan in a while. So I figured this is a great time as any to sort of catch up on that. And then it will also allow me the flexibility of doing other things. And when things are timely, or there's things in the news that relate to the hospitality or food industry, we can talk about it and do it right then and there, as opposed to waiting until that following Saturday to air something. So that's the plan going forward. So in other words, you need to subscribe. So subscribing to our YouTube channel, subscribing to the podcast player you're listening to us on, and keeping up to date on all of our social media channels. We are going to be more diligent in posting little clips, what's coming up, behind the scenes things, especially with us trying to maneuver live shows and other events and tastings at the wine bar, and whether we start going back on the road again. All those kind of things will be on social media. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm trying to get better. I'm spending more time on Twitter myself personally, so I'm hoping to kind of use Twitter a little bit more as well, because I'm finding there's a lot of people and you get very quick responses for those who are following that way. But by subscribing and keeping up to date, you will know when there's a certain topic coming up that you like. Sometimes it'll be not necessarily one topic per episode. Sometimes it's going to be 2 or 3 different things on the one episode. So kind of like you'd have a talk show format with different guests, it'll be a similar style like that. So this way we can not be pigeonholed into one thing that we want to share with you, but we can actually gather a bunch of things. And we can still have like fun little games and things and let Cynthia play. I'm thinking it'd be fun like to send her to grocery stores to talk to people, but I haven't talked to her about that yet. And since she says she doesn't watch the show, I'll have to share it with her, or if you guys see her, you can tell her that. But I'm thinking about all those kind of things, and because Stacy's still traveling quite a bit, we have that opportunity to sort of do other things on our own and share our own points of views of things when we want to share it, right? That's the whole idea of podcast to start off with. So I want to thank you for season 2. This is just a raw thank you for another great season. Thank you for your patience while we are trying to find our footing and getting things ready for season 3. And thank you to my co-hosts who have been very patient with me while I'm going through this strange, weird change of life, I want to call it, where I'm going from a big house to a small house and commercial owned properties and opening 2 businesses. It's just going to be a whole different life for me, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm very excited to have the podcast sort of be a part of it, to sort of share everything that we're doing going forward.
And in the meantime, please rate and subscribe to our on iTunes or your favorite podcast player, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. In the meantime, please rate and subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast player, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sounds good.
And we're so proud of you.
Enjoy the patio.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So if you have topic ideas, people you'd like us to interview, places you'd like us to visit, we can easily do things in Ontario, obviously, but I'm open to other suggestions. We like road trips, so if you're listening to us down the States and you want us to come down there, please feel free to give us a shout. You can direct message us on any of the social media channels as well. So again, thank you for season 2. Happy October. And yes, for all you PSL fans, it is my least favorite time of year. And I'm sure that's going to come up in our season 3 opener. We'll have a little laugh about it, of course. So again, thank you so much. And I will keep an eye on our social media channels, and we'll let you know when our season 3 opener starts. Have a great weekend.
We're glowing. And Cynthia made us white t-shirts. There we go. That's okay. So I will, on Facebook, this is going to be live.
It's going to be? It's live now.
Well, it is live now, but I'm also going to save the video so that you can watch it later if you want to learn more about Misa and Anthony Bourdain and stuff. And then we'll also post pictures of what our shirts look like without the white glare from the video. So Cynthia was kind enough to make us Flying for Flavor t-shirts. And we all have Anthony Bourdain quotes on the back.
Which again, you can't see, but we'll post pictures.
We'll post pictures because it's really cute.
Okay, well, I think that you're around Stacy.
Stacy's the best.
Says, I'm a big believer in improvising and getting lost. Absolutely. I read mine.
And Cynthia says, you take something with you, hopefully you leave something good behind.
And Stephanie says, I would like to see the pumpkin spice craze drowned in its own blood.
For those of you who watch Flying for Flavor and actually understand my hate for the pumpkin spice latte craze,
You will know.
it was more than fitting.
She had a beautiful travel quote chosen, and then I saw this one. I said, nope, this one's you.
Thanks so much for watching this video. We love putting it together. It's so much fun. All of our favorite things, good food, good drinks, a lot of travel talk, and we put it all together in one fun show. So make sure you follow us here, click on the videos below, follow, subscribe, and find us on your favorite podcast player. We'll see you on our next trip.